The puppy who painted the forest. Once upon a time, in the heart of a lush green forest, there lived a puppy named Poppy. Poppy was not an ordinary puppy. Her tail was tipped with a spot of gold, and her fur had the softest shade of caramel. She was full of wonder, curiosity, and a spirit that sparkled brighter than the morning dew. Poppy had one very special gift. She loved colours. More than anything, she dreamed of painting the world around her in shades that no one had ever seen before. Every morning, Poppy would wake up beneath the tall oak tree, where she made her bed of soft moss and fallen leaves. The forest was alive with sounds, the chirping of birds, the gentle rustle of the wind, and the distant babble of the brook. But what fascinated Poppy most were the colours that danced across the forest floor when the sunlight filtered through the leaves. She saw emerald greens, sunflower yellows, and fiery reds, but she wondered, what would the forest look like if she could paint it herself? One day, while sniffing around the roots of an ancient willow, Poppy discovered something strange. Peeking out from a hollow log was a small leather satchel. Curious, she nudged it open with her nose and found tiny jars filled with bright, shimmering paint, colours she had never seen before. Starlight silver, moonbeam blue, pumpkin orange, and raspberry pink. Next to the jars lay a set of paintbrushes made from the softest squirrel tails and the finest twigs. Poppy's heart skipped with excitement. Could this be magic? As she gazed at the paints, a gentle breeze whispered through the trees, carrying the voice of the wise old owl, Oliver, who lived high above the forest canopy. "What do you have there, young Poppy?" he called down, his eyes twinkling beneath his grand spectacles. "I found these paints, Oliver. Do you think I could paint the forest?" Poppy replied, her tail wagging eagerly. Oliver fluttered down, perching on a nearby branch. "The forest is beautiful as it is," he said thoughtfully, "but every creature has a way of adding their own touch to the world. If your heart is gentle and your spirit kind, perhaps your colours will make the forest sing." Poppy thanked Oliver, and with a heart full of hope, she set off to begin her masterpiece. She dipped her brush into the starlight silver and painted tiny swirls on the bark of a pine tree. She added moonbeam blue to the pebbles by the brook, making them sparkle like the night sky. The pumpkin orange became bursts of colour on the mushrooms, and raspberry pink blossomed on the petals of wildflowers. At first, the other forest animals were unsure. Squirrel Sophie peeked out from a branch and gasped, "Oh, Poppy, the trees look so different." Bunny Benny hopped over, his nose twitching. "Are the mushrooms supposed to glow like lanterns?" Even the deer, gentle and quiet, paused to admire the new colours. Poppy worried she had made a mistake, but Oliver reassured her. "Change can be surprising, but it can also be wonderful. Let's see how the forest feels with your colours." As the days passed, the forest became a place of wonder. The birds sang brighter songs, inspired by the colourful leaves. The butterflies danced through patches of moonbeam blue, and the mushrooms glowed like tiny stars at night. Even the shy foxes ventured out to see Poppy's paintings, their eyes wide with amazement. One afternoon, a heavy rainstorm swept through the forest. Poppy watched as her colours began to run together, swirling across the ground and blending into new shades. She felt a pang of sadness. Her paintings were washing away. But as the rain cleared and the sun returned, something magical happened. The forest shimmered with a rainbow light, and the colours that had mixed on the ground grew into new flowers unlike any Poppy or anyone else had seen before. Oliver flew down and landed beside Poppy. "Do you see, my dear? Your art has become a part of the forest itself. You haven't lost anything. You've given the forest a new way to shine." From that day on, Poppy continued to paint, but she also learned to appreciate the way the forest changed on its own. She painted with care, adding a dash of colour here, a swirl there, always listening to the gentle heartbeat of the woods. The other animals joined her, bringing their own colours and patterns, and soon the forest became a tapestry woven by everyone who lived there. Poppy's favourite spot was by the brook, where the pebbles still sparkled with moonbeam blue. She would sit and watch as new seedlings sprouted in colours she'd never imagined. She realised that painting the forest wasn't just about changing it. It was about celebrating its beauty, sharing joy, and creating something together with her friends. As the seasons passed, the story of the puppy who painted the forest became legend. Visitors from far away came to see the magical woods, marvelling at the rainbow trees, the shimmering mushrooms, and the blossoms that glowed with starlight and moonbeams. They all knew that the heart of the forest belonged to a puppy with a golden-tipped tail and a spirit full of colour. And so, Poppy's adventure continued, painting each day with love, wonder, and the promise that every creature, big or small, could brighten the world in their own special way. But the story doesn't end there. Deep within the newly colourful forest, Poppy's paintbrushes became treasured tools for everyone. The birds used them to decorate their nests with dabs of starlight silver. The squirrels painted their tree hollows with pumpkin orange swirls. Even Benny the bunny learned to paint his favourite carrots with raspberry pink, giggling as his friends admired the quirky new vegetables. One starry night, the animals gathered together for a special celebration. They called it the Festival of Colours, a time to thank the forest for its wonders and each other for their friendship. Lanterns made from painted mushrooms lit up the night, and songs filled the air as each animal shared a story of their favourite colours. During the festival, Poppy stood at the centre, surrounded by her friends. She felt a warm glow in her heart, knowing that her little adventure had brought so much happiness. Oliver the wise owl spoke to the crowd. "Let's remember, dear friends, that the forest is more beautiful when we share our colours and our dreams. Every one of us has something special to give." The animals cheered, and Poppy wagged her golden-tipped tail, feeling proud and grateful. She gazed at the forest, now filled with laughter, music, and colour, and knew she had found her place. And so, every year, the Festival of Colours returned, growing brighter and more joyful. New animals arrived, bringing their own paints and ideas. The forest continued to change, always ready for a new adventure, always welcoming new friends. Poppy grew older, but her spirit remained young and curious. She taught the younger puppies how to paint with care, reminding them to listen to the forest's whispers and to always use their gifts with kindness. She told stories of her first painting, the magical rainstorm, and the way the colours blended to create new life. The puppies listened with wide eyes, eager to add their own colours to the world. One spring morning, Poppy discovered something wonderful. A tiny seedling sprouted near her favourite brook, its leaves shimmering with all the colours of the rainbow. She realised that her art had become part of the forest's heart, growing and changing with every season. She smiled, knowing the forest would continue to bloom in endless shades, always filled with creativity and love. And so the legend of the puppy who painted the forest lived on, inspiring every creature to dream, to create, and to share their colours with the world. The forest remained a place of wonder, where even the smallest puppy could make a big difference, one brushstroke at a time. From the tallest oak to the tiniest flower, the forest sang with colour and joy, reminding everyone that beauty begins when you open your heart, share your dreams, and paint the world with kindness. And whenever a new puppy arrived in the forest, eager and bright-eyed, the older animals would gather around and say, "Let us show you how Poppy changed our home. Let us teach you how to paint with love." So if you ever wander into a magical forest and see moonbeam blue pebbles, starlight silver bark, and raspberry pink flowers, remember the story of Poppy, the puppy who painted the forest and made it a place where every heart could shine. The end. But as the forest settled into another peaceful night, with the stars twinkling above and the gentle breeze carrying the scent of painted petals, something remarkable began to happen. Poppy's story spread beyond the borders of the woods. Birds carried tales of the colourful forest to distant lands, and the wind whispered the legend to creatures in faraway meadows. One day, a young raccoon named Remy arrived at the edge of the forest. His fur was a patchwork of grey and black, and his eyes sparkled with curiosity. Remy had heard stories of the magical woods and the puppy who painted wonders. He longed to see the colours for himself. As Remy wandered through the forest, he gasped at every turn. The trees glimmered with silver and orange, the flowers danced in the breeze, and the brook sang as moonbeam blue pebbles glistened beneath the water. Remy met Poppy near her favourite painting spot and asked, "How did you make the forest so beautiful?" Poppy smiled warmly. "With a little paint, a lot of imagination and friends to help. Would you like to paint something too?" Remy's heart leapt with joy. Together they painted patterns on the leaves, zigzags and swirls, stars and hearts. Remy added his own touch, painting paw prints in wild berry purple, his favourite colour. The forest welcomed every new shade, growing brighter and more magical with each passing day. Other newcomers arrived, hedgehogs, chipmunks, and even a timid little skunk named Stella. Each brought their own colours and ideas, learning from Poppy and sharing with each other. Stella painted soft stripes on the rocks, turning them into tiny rainbows. The hedgehogs painted golden suns on the tree trunks, and the chipmunks painted tiny footprints all along the winding paths. As the forest grew more colourful, the animals discovered something special. The colours didn't just make the forest beautiful, they made it feel like home. Whenever someone felt sad or lonely, they could look at the painted leaves and remember that they were part of something wonderful. Poppy taught everyone an important lesson. It doesn't matter how good you are at painting. What matters is that you try, and that you share your heart with the world. Every colour is special, just like every creature. One day, a wise old turtle named Tessa visited the forest. She had travelled far and wide, and she carried with her a shell decorated in every colour of the rainbow. Tessa looked around and said, "I've seen many places, but never a forest so full of joy. You have made something truly magical." Tessa shared stories of other lands, where animals created their own art and celebrated their differences. The forest animals listened, inspired to continue their paintings and to welcome new friends from everywhere. Poppy realised that her dream had grown bigger than she ever imagined. The forest was not just a place of colour, it was a place of friendship, of stories, and of hope. She knew that as long as everyone painted together, the forest would continue to shine. As the sun set and the stars began to twinkle, the animals gathered for another festival of colours. They painted lanterns, sang songs, and danced beneath the moonlight. Poppy looked around, her heart full of gratitude, knowing that the forest would always be a place where every creature could create, share, and belong. The legend of the puppy who painted the forest grew, carried by the wind and the rivers, inspiring animals in every corner of the world to find their colours and share their dreams. And in the heart of the magical woods, the forest bloomed with endless beauty, reminding everyone that together we can make the world a brighter place. Let this be a story to remember, that kindness, creativity, and friendship are the greatest colours of all. And so, the puppy who painted the forest became a symbol of hope. Poppy's golden-tipped tail still wagged as she explored new corners of her beloved woods, always searching for new colours, new friends, and new adventures. And the forest continued to grow, painted with dreams, laughter, and the promise that anyone, no matter how small, can change the world. The end.